Hello, and welcome to the show. Hey guys, Wade here for Ask a Lawyer. You're probably going to notice today that my voice is a little thin. I wanted to let you guys know that I feel fine. I had a rough couple of days, but I'm definitely on the mend and wanted to make sure that you get your daily dose of drama from Ask a Lawyer. So enjoy the show. Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment. My 17 female stepmother Jane is a wonderful woman. She and my father got married when I was 4, and she's been a rock in my life ever since. My mother was always my primary caregiver, but up until that point, her relationship with my father was acrimonious, and I basically never saw him. Jane was the reason they developed a stable co-parenting relationship. She encouraged everyone having a good relationship with each other, and was always there to support me and my mom when things got rough. Jane was always a really hard worker. When she met my dad, she was living out of a hotel, and my mother was doing everything in her power to keep me away from him because she was petty and angry that their relationship didn't work out. Meanwhile, Jane had a great job, a nice house, helped my dad get back on his feet, negotiated a visitation schedule with my mom, who hated her for a long time, and made sure my dad sent us money every week because neither of them could afford an attorney to negotiate child support payments. Jane had no reason to do any of these things, but as I got older, she made it clear that she loved me as much as she loved my half-brothers, who were born a few years later. I even have my own room in her house because at the time, we lived with my grandparents, various boyfriends of my mom, and Jane felt that I needed a more stable environment than that. She's like the opposite of the evil stepmom. When I was 15, Jane won a big lawsuit against an airline company and got awarded upwards of $1 million. She used the money to build sizable trust funds for me and my brothers so that we would be taken care of later in life. Despite having a lot more money, she still wanted to live a fairly modest life. So she paid off the house she has and has been living there ever since with my dad. Sure, she bought a new car and they went on a few nice vacations, but she didn't blow all her money on stupid things, which I respected. About a year ago, things started getting really weird. Whenever I saw Jane, she seemed to look sicker and sicker. But no one would tell me or my brothers why, even though I know they knew. All we knew is that she was in the hospital a lot. Around the same time, my mom has been coming around my dad a lot more and acting really strange, basically like she was trying to romance him. Whenever Jane was in the hospital, my mother would insist on spending the night at their house and playing mom to my brothers, which was so weird to me because she never liked them or Jane. She'd be the perfect little housewife, and my mom is not like that at all. It was super fake. Worst of all, my dad started falling for it. I'm not stupid. I'm pretty sure they were sleeping together. I tried to shield my brothers from it, but they're not dumb either. I tried talking to my dad too, but he insisted it wasn't like that. Then a few weeks ago, my mom started talking about all the places she'd like to visit, how she wanted a new car and was looking to invest. Which is weird because my mom has been a bartender her whole life and has lived paycheck to paycheck since before I was born. She was acting like she was about to get a lot of money, which started to make me really suspicious. Between Jane being sick and my mom acting all nouveau riche, I had a lot of questions. Finally, I decided to visit Jane in the hospital and ask her about my trust fund. I found out that if anything happened to her, that my dad would inherit all the money, including full control of the trust fund for me and my brothers. She asked me why I was so interested in the trust fund, so I told her what's going on with my parents and how my mom has been acting with my dad. I didn't want to, but after everything she did for me, she deserved the truth. It really hurt me to break her heart like that, especially when I found out that she was basically in hospice at this point because of irreversible kidney failure. She's only got a few more months. We both cried so much. Then, 2 days ago, everything came to a head. My mom stormed in furious and started arguing with my dad. Apparently, Jane met with her lawyer and changed the trust so that my dad would get nothing and all of the trust would be controlled by my step-aunt. She demanded to know how Jane found out about their relationship, and I came out and told them that I told Jane everything. I told them that if they wanted to play stupid games, then they would win stupid prizes, and that I wasn't going to let them screw Jane over after all the help she gave my family when she didn't have to. My mom slapped me, and my dad just looked so defeated. Then my mom told my dad that she didn't really love him, that she was just pretending to so he would marry her and she could get all of the money. The worst part about it is that my brothers witnessed the whole thing, and now on top of their mom dying, they have to deal with a cheating dad and his vindictive ex. Our whole family is in ruins, and I feel like it's my fault, even though I know it's not. Yesterday I visited Jane again and told her about the fallout. She apologized and said that she had to dissolve my trust fund to make sure my mother didn't get a hold of the money, but that as her oldest, I will inherit the house, property, after she is gone, and that's worth more than the other two trust funds combined. My father won't get anything because she's going to divorce him before she dies, and honestly, I'm happy for her. She made me promise to take care of my brothers and told me that once I turn 18 this summer, I can kick my dad out of the house if I want to, and I fully plan to do that, by the way. I haven't talked to my dad since, and I can't even look at my mom. I can't believe they would conspire to do this to Jane after all this time. Just proof that they deserve each other, and I'm embarrassed that they're my parents. Once I turn 18, I'm going to cut my dad out as much as I can and cut my mom out completely. I hope she rots. Meanwhile, I'm going to try and be at the hospital as much as I can until Jane passes away. Anyways, I just needed to vent. I'm really messed up about the whole thing, and I feel super betrayed. Although I can't even begin to imagine how Jane feels. I'm gonna be so effed up when she dies. I can't even think about that right now. But at least she's not surrounded by people who just want to bring her down. Thanks for reading. Edit. Some people are asking a lot of the same stuff, so I'll just clarify here. My brothers. My plan is to use some of the estate money to fight for guardianship for my twin brothers, so they can live in the house while I kick my dad out. If I can't get guardianship, then I will have to let my dad stay in the house. However, once I turn 18, I will technically be an adult, so even if my dad leaves, I'm still legally able to be responsible for them. The only thing I won't be able to do is stop him from taking them if he leaves. But they will be 18 in 6 years, so even if they do have to leave, they will always be able to come back whenever they want. In a perfect world, my dad would just leave and let the brothers stay with me, which I'm sure my bio mom would be very supportive of, because right now she hates all of us, and I doubt that will change anytime soon. The trust. From what I understand, my brothers will inherit 1/3 each of the estate, and the remaining 1/3 will be used to keep the house running until they turn 18. After that, it will be up to me if I want to keep the house or sell it. At that point, my brothers will still have money left in the trust, so they can branch out or do whatever they want. Otherwise, I will not sell the house and just pass it on to them or keep it and maintain it myself, and they can just stay with me as long as they need to. Edit to the edit. So I just spoke to Jane, and she told me that the reason she dissolved the trust is because originally it was going to split 3 times between us kids, and my dad would inherit the house. She dissolved my third and switched it over to make it take care of the house maintenance, and instead put the house in my name so Dad wouldn't get it. Plus, by doing that, at least financially I will be getting a much bigger share. The house is worth about 1.5 times the amount of my brother's trusts. I just wouldn't be able to do anything with it until my brothers are 18, which I'm totally cool with. Sorry if I don't have a better answer, but I'm just trying to translate what she told me. My parents. The big fight happened on Sunday, and I haven't spoken to either of my parents since. I think they're both at my mom's place right now, but that's fine with us because we're all still mad at them, so they can stay gone for all we care. I know technically that's not legal to just leave us alone, but I've been taking care of my brothers for over a year. I can handle a few days while he gets his crap together. Screw both of them. Hope that clears some stuff up. What a betrayal. Can you imagine being sick and in the hospital and your husband is having an affair? Poor OP's stepmother. I can't imagine how hard it was for OP to reveal the truth to her stepmother. But she did the right thing. And, well, OP's father is not worth being called a man. But I believe in karma and that it will come after him sooner or later. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Tasena says, the most important thing you've inherited from Jane is a strong moral compass. You could have taken the easy road and ignored everything your mom and dad were doing. But your compassion to Jane is proof you take after her the most. Away Link says, you poor thing. Take the time you have left with her and make sure your brothers do too. Grief is a powerful thing to go through, and you'll all need each other. I'd go no contact with your bio mom and put in place a boundary that she's not to step foot near your home. What she did was downright cruel. If your dad didn't realize his mistake in that moment and still pines for the rhymes with that witch, then he's proven his worth. I'll leave you with this. The brightest stars burn the fastest, so we must love them while we can. Matt DVS 1979 says, "My only advice is to make sure you work with a lawyer once she passes, so you get your inheritance and your parents can't try to intervene. And then you can keep your promise to use that money for you and your brother's welfare." I, 30 female, have a 14-year-old daughter, Leah. Married my husband, Mark, 46 male, 6 years ago. He has 2 children from a previous marriage, Coy, 16 male, and Coral, 14 female. Me and Mark have the kids full-time, but his kids live with their mom for a few weeks during the summer. They moved into my lake house, which has 5 bedrooms. 2 of the bedrooms upstairs have bathrooms. My daughter had one of those rooms. But as the girls began high school, Coral began complaining about not having a bathroom and said it's unfair. Mark and Coy told her to stop complaining. Leah said it was fine and asked us if she could turn the basement into her room. I didn't like that idea, but she begged, so I agreed. Turns out my daughter wanted a room makeover, so this worked out. We give the kids allowance and allowed them to get a work permit. Coy worked at an arcade and told the girls he could get them jobs. Coral refused to work, but Leah agreed. After 5 months of saving her allowance, she was able to buy everything she needed to decorate. Coral never bothered to go down there because she believed it was full of spiders, but Coy was down there every day helping her. After a week, she completely transformed the basement. She invited everyone down, and it was stunning. I didn't even know that computer towers could be clear. She looked so proud. Coral then screamed that it wasn't fair and that she wanted the basement now. Everyone began yelling at her, but she began crying, and before we knew it, she ran over to the computer and threw the tower on the ground. The glass shattered, and one of the monitors fell to the floor, also breaking. My daughter cried. I explained to Mark that Coral has to pay for this. He said her emotions are just high, and that we'll get situated when everything calms down. I ran to Coral and yelled, saying that she's on punishment. Mark didn't agree, but I didn't care. Coral was unnecessarily crying and ran to her mother's car. Coy kept trying to help my daughter, and Mark tried to hand her $300, but Coy explained that Coral caused about $1,000 worth of damages. He said luckily the expensive pieces in the case were saved, but the case itself was about $450, and the monitor was $200. Mark explained that he doesn't have that kind of money. So I said she can't come back until my daughter's stuff is repaired, with a sincere apology. Coy agreed, and Mark was upset, saying he couldn't do that to his daughter. I told him to leave if that's the case. Mark left for a few hours and handed my daughter a check for $1,000. I explained that Coral can't come back if there is no punishment. My husband's ex-wife is saying that I'm banning her from our home because she didn't deserve that bigger space and that we were treating Coral unfairly. But I said that she did that. There was nothing unfair about the situation. The ex just hung up. Now my husband's ex-in-laws are bombarding him with phone calls saying he's a horrible dad. His sister even said he's being a bad parent, and they're best friends, so it's really getting to him. This happened last night, and he hasn't gotten up yet. Should I apologize? Am I the a-hole? Well, in my opinion, OP's behavior is completely valid. The one who should be apologizing is Coral. Unless she pays her back and apologizes, then she shouldn't be allowed in the house, since OP's husband can't punish his own daughter when she's clearly wrong. Coral just sounds spoiled. Her emotions are not an excuse for breaking anything, especially when it's not hers. OP should block the in-laws because this has nothing to do with them. And ex-wife can shut up or start to educate her daughter instead of complaining. And now let's hear the community's opinion. The world is on fire says, not the a-hole. Coral sounds like a spoiled brat, and Mark needs to realize that at 14, she should have a better handle on her emotions than throwing a tantrum because someone else has something nice that she wants. She absolutely should apologize for behaving like a toddler, and Mark needs to stop coddling his kid. At least the older brother seems to have a clue. Let him stew in his feelings. Maybe he'll get some insight into why his dismissive parenting isn't doing anyone any favors. Superflex says, not the a-hole. So, to be clear, first, it wasn't fair that Leah had one of the upstairs bedrooms with an ensuite bath. I'm assuming that when the basement project got the green light, the natural outcome of that was going to be Coral moving into that bedroom. Second, Coral wanted nothing to do with the basement, didn't want the space, contributed no time, effort, or money to the work on it. And then when she saw the finished product, all of a sudden, she wanted it, and it wasn't fair again. Third, Coral got shut down, and in a fit of rage, smashed Leah's custom PC and one of her monitors. Coral is a ducking entitled brat. I think you're on shaky ground with the concept of banning one of your stepchildren from your marital home, but punishment and restitution is 100% warranted. Update. I found out the complete story, and there's a lot of drama. It's over a boy. So both of my daughters are cheerleaders, and there's a Valentine's Day dance coming up. All of Coral's friends are cheerleaders, and they all date football players except her. So for the past month, her friends have been trying to hook her up with Brad. But it turns out he is interested in Leah. After all the games, Brad talked with Leah. So Coral came up with a rumor that Leah plays Roblox. It's not really a rumor, but Brad found out. So after school a few days before the incident, Coral tells Brad how childish Leah is for still playing Roblox. And Brad says he doesn't think it's childish. Turns out, him and his friends play, and then invited Leah to join them. Then yesterday after school in the hallway, Brad had his friends record this big proposal to the dance that included flowers and chocolate, and Leah accepted. Apparently, Coral was crying at cheerleading practice, and Leah went up to ask what's wrong and if she needs anything. Coral and her friends started cursing Leah out, so Leah just backed off. Then this morning, Coral posted on Facebook about how Leah is the favorite child and that she was kicked out of her decorated bedroom in order for Leah to have it. Her mom, Drea, had also posted something similar. Coy didn't want this to ruin Leah's reputation, so he posted everything about their lies. He also posted a picture of the shattered case and explained how everything Coral said was a lie and how Leah was nice enough to give up her bedroom. Drea also called us some horrible names. Then Coy responded that the reason the custody is no longer 50-50 is because Drea's husband hates kids. Apparently, Coral didn't know this, but Drea sent my husband a text saying he knows how her husband feels about the kids being there, so he needs to make up with her and let her come home. Mark then screenshot this and sent it to Coral. She came home and went straight to her room. She skipped practice. Leah is on her way, so when she gets home, we'll have a family meeting. Update 2. So we had a long talk. Coral came down and apologized to Leah, and she was jealous about Brad. She also apologized to me for lying to her aunt. She believed Leah got everything she asked for, so I had her explain, and the only thing she said was Brad. As I was about to explain, Mark stepped in and told her that wasn't everything. Mark then explained everything Coral got, which included a room makeover, which Leah had to pay for on her own, a brand new laptop after Leah had to pay for the entire computer setup. He then asked if this was really about a guy that she doesn't have anything in common with. Coral then told us how popular he was, and that because Leah is a nerd, they don't mesh. Other than cheerleading, Leah's in a quiz bowl and a robot making club. Leah explained now that football was over, Brad was also in those clubs, and so are his friends, who the other cheerleaders date. Coral then began crying again, because after the Facebook post, her friends explained that their boyfriends don't want to be involved with a liar, and advised them to stop hanging with her, so they didn't sit with her at lunch today. Mark calmly told her that was her own doing. She broke down and said, "I know." Mark then held her in his arms and apologized about sending her the screenshot and explained that I wasn't the bad guy. She then explained that Drea told her that I forced Mark to get full custody so that we all could be one big happy family. So that, along with the Brad situation, made her lash out. She then ran to hug me, saying how sorry she was, and looked at Leah and apologized once again. I brought up family therapy, and everyone agreed. Coral took the post down already and apologized to Leah publicly. I know things are looking up, but without friends and this situation with her mom, I'm not sure what's going to happen.